Good morning and welcome to the Standing Committees meeting for Wednesday, April 6, 2022. All council meetings will be live streamed on the city's website and the city's YouTube channel. Our first order of business is roll call. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess, Mr. Coghill, Ms. Gross,
Here.
Mr. Kraus,
Here.
Mr. O'Connor, Mrs. Kel Smith, Ms. Strasburger,
Here.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Mr. Lavelle, Chair.
Here.
6 members present.
Thank you. Our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind all speakers that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before city council, and profanity will not be permitted. After you are called, please provide your name and neighborhood for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller.
Dr. Ronald N. Miller, Belts Hoover, Squirrel Hill, Montpelier, Vermont, Copenhagen, Denmark, Global Intelligence Society, U.S. National Candidate Presidency 2024, Global Intelligence Society.org. April 2022 is the GIS-sponsored European Intelligence Month. I and the GIS are seeking a link with Copenhagen, Denmark. Concern of Denmark is to maximize free speech and minimize surveillance of Danes. According to the Global State of Democracy Index, Denmark is number 1. The US is number 13 in the world on free speech. Denmark with less than 2 cameras per 1,000, and UK at the other end, greater than 60 per 1,000. I really wonder what it is in Pittsburgh. I'm making that as a request. A concern of Pittsburgh Council is local city security and so local surveillance of Pittsburghers. The National Security Act of 1947 and the National Defense Authorization Act 2011, NDAA, support this concern. 1, the NDAA allows warrantless surveillance of targeted citizens, including Pittsburghers. President Barack Obama approved. Gainey and Cale Smith, according to public documents, do not disapprove. I do. 2, NDAA accepts securement of information on Pittsburgher 1 by Pittsburgher 2 via a national security letter without informing Pittsburgher 1, Citizen 1. Obama affirmed this. Gainey and Cale Smith do not disaffirm according to any public statements. Number 3, the NDAA advances indefinite sequestration of Pittsburghers accused of terrorism. Obama, yes. Gainey and Cale Smith, no objection. For the NDAA, there's a yes to secret suppression of evidence, argumentation in secret foreign intelligence surveillance courts to which Pittsburgher citizen observers have no access. Obama, oh, yes, 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 use them. Gainey and Cale Smith, there's an absence of anti-yes. I do object to this. The NDAA allows sentencing using extraordinary means. One of the ways this is done is there is extraterritorial rendition, where people are taken outside of the United States, deported outside of the United States for interrogation. The other is sentenced to death via extrajudicial assassination without presumption of innocence, without warrant, without trial, as Obama did in ordering the execution of U.S. citizen Anwar al-Awlaki in 2008. Cale Smith, Gainey, no objection. Obama is the most authoritarian president on freedom of speech we have ever had.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Naomi Mullen.
Good morning. Shady trees, not shady deals in Bon Air. Not only do the property owners of Bon Air not consent to anything but a green space to replace the school, we absolutely do not agree to redistricting. Drop it. Michael J. Mullen Reflection by Battalion Chief Douglas Praskovich. Retired Deputy Fire Chief Michael Mullen touched the lives of many people. His uncompromising dedication to his sworn duty to provide for the safety of the citizens of Pittsburgh was exceptional and one that should be emulated by every firefighter. He loved sharing his knowledge of firefighting in all its many aspects to make our firefighters safer, smarter, and more efficient on the fire ground. Mike knew most of the firefighters on the entire Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire by their first name and was always approachable, regardless of rank. If you had a question, he would stop what he was doing to answer it. He worked tirelessly, but also energetically his entire career in pursuit of more knowledge. His legacy will serve our citizens and firefighters for years to come. Mike was a loving and compassionate husband, father, brother, relative, and friend. Michael J. Mullen lived a full life, as his obituary so accurately described. Mike was passionate, tireless, dedicated, highly conscientious, and caring. Well done, Michael. Well done. Rest in peace, my friend. The Michael Mullen Memorial Green Space is a needed reparation for Bon Air. Do your part. Shady trees, not shady deals in Bon Air. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ivor Hill.
Good morning. My name is Ivor Hill. I am representing Hill Property. We are a small developer putting together 14 condos on the south side. And we are developing what was a defunct large Catholic gym into condominiums. We have been stalled by a very, very long process of obtaining a underground water permit from PWSA. Our first meeting with them was almost 14 months ago, where they agreed to allow us to use the existing water and sewer system. Therefore, no tap-ins would be necessary. We have obviously gone through the process, culminating that the City Council received from the City Solicitor the resolution over 60 days ago. I did send that email in if you want to review it. And this process has really cost us a lot of time and money. It's cost my clients delays in closing and moving into the property, which has obviously cost them mortgage interest increases as time goes on. So it's been a very difficult, long process. When we do get the underground water permit, it allows us to proceed. Nothing physically changes on the property. That is the irony of it, as we're using the existing water and sewer system. So I just respectfully asked that the council pass the resolution. We are last on the agenda today, and I respectfully ask that the council pass this resolution so we can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Joy Brunstein.
Good morning. Thank you, Council, for having me. My name is Joy Bronstein. I am a resident of Squirrel Hill, and I work for Clean Water Action as the Western Pennsylvania Policy Director. I'm here this morning to speak on behalf of my organization, my neighbors, my children, the land, the water, and the animals who have no voice. As you all know, Earth Day is just around the corner, and in just a few short weeks, we hope to be able to celebrate with all of you, esteemed council members, the historic passage of the plastic bag ban as presented by Councilwoman Strasburger. I encourage you to move this ordinance forward today, to move it to a full vote next week, and to pass it as soon as possible so that we can get this unneeded millions of extra plastic bags out of our waste stream, out of our waters, out of our land, out of our streets, and out of our playgrounds. Thank you very much for hearing me, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ashley Deemer.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Ashley Deemer. I am the Deputy Director of Penn Environment, located at 1831 Murray Avenue in Squirrel Hill. Penn Environment is a statewide environmental advocacy organization, and we work to protect our air, water, and natural places across the Commonwealth. I'm here today to thank Council for all the work you've done to craft a strong policy to curb unnecessary plastic waste in Pittsburgh. In particular, I want to thank Councilperson Strasburger and her team who have spent countless hours educating stakeholders, gathering feedback, finding compromise, and building support for this bill. This ordinance is critically important because Pittsburgh businesses hand out nearly 110 million plastic bags every year. And these bags are a major contributor to the plastic waste that we see littering our communities. They break down and they pollute our rivers, and the climate impacts of making all of these bags are really massive. Nothing we use for just a few minutes should have such a harmful and lasting impact on our environment, our communities, and our health. For all these reasons, the bill has broad public support. Yesterday, I sent council members a supportive coalition letter signed by 31 organizations, including my own, Clean Water Action, Physicians for Social Responsibility Pennsylvania, Clean Air Council, Women for a Healthy Environment, and several neighborhood organizations like Mount Washington CDC and Homewood Children's Village. Earlier in this effort, we signed on another 100 groups and businesses to a similar letter. Those signers included more neighborhood organizations like the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation, Pretty Up Beachview, and the Bhutanese Community Association of Pittsburgh, just to name a few. In short, people, businesses, and organizations in every corner of this city support this effort. When passed, this will be one of the most comprehensive and thoughtful plastic bag policies in the country. Its basic ban fee hybrid structure would prohibit the distribution of single-use plastic bags, taking these harmful plastics out of the waste stream altogether. And it would place a small fee on paper bags, incentivizing people to use reusables and further reduce waste. We have data from other places that demonstrates this type of policy's positive impact. In San Jose, for example, it has led to an 89% reduction in plastic bags clogging storm drains. Now, because of the work that council has done to date, I know that we can achieve those similarly impressive results right here in Pittsburgh. I thank you for your time, and I urge you to vote yes on this bill today.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sean Nolan. I don't believe I see Mr. Nolan online.
Hello?
Either. Oh, there you go. Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning. I've been in full support of a plastic bag ban for a long time. I don't represent any specific organization except for the Thomas Merton Center in Garfield. And I do simply try to keep bags in the car so that I can use my own bags at a grocery store. And if I forget those, I do ask for paper bags instead of plastic to take things home. To reduce, reuse, and recycle, obviously, is the mantra we've all been hearing for years. And so at any point, I do try to live by that. I gather items for the garden from places where I can reuse old coffee grounds or wood chips for compost. And in the similar vein, I try to reuse bags that are simply not going to be thrown out. So I'm against single-use plastic. I go to their meetings, and I am a proponent of walking or bicycling or using the bus whenever possible too. The success they've had in California with banning plastic bags, I think could be replicated here in Pittsburgh. I think there's enough public support behind it that people would support it if it was led by the city council and then followed by citizens. I think that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Robert Buncher.
Hello, I'm here. My name is Robert Buncher. I live at 1605 Beechwood Boulevard, Squirrel Hill. There is a huge plastic factory just up the river from us that will start churning out pollution shortly. You know, air pollution and plastic around the world. It's a criminal, corrupt activity. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it. The state's giving them over $500 million in tax credits. You know, who wanted that? Nobody. we can't do anything about that. That's the way the world is. But we can ban plastic bags in the city of Pittsburgh. That's something we can do, and something we ought to do to show that we really care about the earth and about our city and our environment. And if we don't do it, then we're as bad as the criminals that put in that plastics factory. So vote for the ban plastic bags. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Gregory Peter Kochansky. For some reason, we cannot hear you, Mr. Kochansky, although I see your microphone is moving. Want to try again now?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I'm Greg Kuchansky from Point Breeze, and I thank you for your attention and your technical debugging assistance. Let's ban the bag. There are lots of reasons to avoid throwaway plastic, and the biggest is upwind of Pittsburgh. It's out in Beaver County. It's a huge petrochemical plant, just mentioned, built by Shell to turn fracked gas into plastic. And the size of it is dramatic. Starting this summer, it'll demand 10,000 tons of ethane gas every day. And the ethane will be extracted from our region, mostly Washington County. About half gets turned into plastic. The other half will be burned to power the chemical reactions. But just fracking that much ethane means there are many tons of gas leaking every day from wells, from compressor stations and pipelines. And that has climate impact, that has health impacts. None of the stuff that comes out of a well is stuff you particularly want to breathe. Now, I think this is a good opportunity for Pittsburgh to lead and make a change and improve the world, even if only slightly. I hear there's been some discussion about plastic versus paper bags as the legislation has progressed, but this is a bit of a distraction. Any bag you throw away after 15 minutes of use is a waste and a failure. For this legislation, success is when people bring reusable shopping bags. And we need to encourage people to bring a bag when they shop. So let's start by banning throwaway plastic bags. The air will be a bit cleaner, we'll frack fewer wells, and there'll be less trash blowing in the breeze. All of those are good things. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mary Whitener. Here, oh, there we go. Yes, you may raise your hand. You may begin, Ms. Whitener.
Hello, good morning. I'm Mary and I live in Garfield, and I'm calling to support the proposed plastic bag ban. I've picked up a lot of trash in the city, from the Garbage Olympics, Go Team Garfield, to other organized cleanups, to me going out on my own. And as a result, I've seen a lot of litter. And in my experience, plastic bags seem to be one of the worst types because they tatter and they break apart in ways over time that make them impossible to fully remove during litter pickups. You know, like a bottle you can just pick up, but an old plastic bag shatters and leaves fragments behind as it's touched. And as a study from this year has shown, microplastics have been found in all 53 PA waterways that were tested. And all of that pollution for bags that are used for an average of 12 minutes, just 12 minutes and then discarded, 12 minutes for an effectively unrecyclable product that clogs our storm drains, releases microplastics into every waterway we have, is nearly impossible to fully remove during costly pickups, and jams up equipment at recycling centers. I could go on, but there are alternatives that are cost-effective, environmentally friendly, last for countless 12-minute trips, and can safely decompose. Over 100 small businesses and organizations in the city have already signed in support. Many other municipalities across the state and country have already passed similar legislation. Let's stop the flood of plastics entering our neighborhoods. Let's ban plastic bags. Thank you to Erica Strasberger for introducing this. I know it's been in the works for a while, but I hope that the Pittsburgh City Council can now pass this legislation quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Logan Weld. Is Logan Weld with us? I don't believe I see him online. That will take us to Barbara Finch.
Yes, good morning. Sister Barbara Finch from 1239 Oakmont Street in Grafton Heights. I am calling in to talk about the ban on plastic bags. Yesterday, when I was reflecting of a former administration, it was for Pete's sake, pick up and don't litter. And sadly, I feel like we haven't advanced enough to protect our environment. I'm part of a faith tradition that is teaching us that it is a moral imperative that we take care of our common home. The use of plastics are not only harmful toward humans, but also harmful to plants and animals in our environment. Our high mark of Pittsburgh is our waterways. And so often I see on the riverbanks and within the river itself, so much pollution. There are many areas that have already passed this ban, but I would think that as proud Pittsburghers, we would like to lead the way and to go ahead and pass this ban on plastic bags as a sign of leading the way and not just following. And the intersectionality of the millions of dollars that we spend on trying to control our refuge, we could be using for other means for basic needs for our residents. So please pass this ban today and consider moving it forward even more of what we can do, alternatives to our recycling. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Michelle Chapkis.
Good morning, members of City Council. I am Michelle Nakarati Chapkis, Executive Director of Women for a Healthy Environment, with an office located in East Liberty. Our organization addresses environmental exposures that impact public health. As such, we enthusiastically support the proposed ban on single-use plastic bags and accompanying fee on paper bags in Pittsburgh through a City Council ordinance. Several years ago, we hosted a forum on plastic in which Dr. Sherry Mason, an award-winning scientist and expert on plastics, plastic pollution in freshwater systems and microplastics, reminded us that the plastic bag that we use today frequently is then found blowing in the wind, making its way down the river, then to the lake systems and ultimately the ocean. You see, what happens in our community ultimately has a global impact, and we are killing the ecosystems that we are trying to save. In 2021, Penn Environment's Research and Policy Center released a study in which they tested 53 waterways for microplastic pollution. The results? The pollution was found in every single waterway, including Pittsburgh's 3 rivers. Plankton and algae eat the microplastics, which make its way into humans. You see, these microplastics are ubiquitous and a result of the breakdown of larger plastics, including single-use bags. They have been found in human lungs, blood, stool, and placenta, as well as the bottled water that you drink. Further, the chemicals used to make plastics have also been linked to endocrine disruption and impacts to immune, respiratory, and neurodevelopment functions. It is important to note that these plastic bags do not biodegrade. Every plastic bag ever made still exists today in some way, shape, or form. 2 billion plastic bags are used worldwide every minute, and Pittsburghers use on average over 110 million plastic bags a year. Litter and illegal dumping costs the city of Pittsburgh $6.3 million every year, and the most common form of litter is plastic. It's clearly evident that the challenges and frankly the limitations with recycling plastic exist today. The vast majority of us have the best intentions when recycling, but with limited capacity, we know only a small fraction of our plastic is actually recycled. Addressing plastic waste has become a global issue of concern, felt locally here as well. As an example, Americans generate 35 million tons of plastic waste each year, and less than 9% of that is recycled. This ordinance is not a new concept. We have learned from other cities and across the Commonwealth, such as Philadelphia and Westchester. Washington, D.C., and Seattle, Boston, and San Francisco all have taken an approach to this effort. Reusable alternatives are easy to come by and are more cost-effective in the long term. Local bans help guide and change consumer behavior. This model hybrid of a ban on plastic bag and fee on paper has been used in cities and has been the most effective way to decrease litter and plastic pollution. More than 100 businesses, as you heard earlier, Pittsburgh businesses and community groups support this plastic bag ban. So I ask you to approach this ordinance and pass the legislation. And I'll leave you with Dr. Mason's statement that she made during our program, which I'm happy to share with you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Logan Weld.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Logan Weldy. I'm a staff attorney and legislative director at Clean Air Council based in Philadelphia. We work throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Delaware. I did work for many, many years in Philadelphia on the plastic bag bill. And I just want to say all of the speakers who have spoken in support of this bill today, and I am speaking in support of this bill, have basically said everything I was going to say. This is a win-win-win. Businesses win, the communities win, and the environment wins when you pass this piece of legislation. And the model that you have is the best model in the country to ban plastic and put a fee on all other bags. The point of this legislation is to change people's behavior and encourage people to bring their own bags, and that's what the fee does. The plastic is just, it's destroying communities. As one of the speakers said before, the bags shred and go into micro pieces. Every single waterway in Pennsylvania is now filled with plastic micro pieces, as is our inside of our bodies and inside of almost every living creature. So this is the time to do it. I believe that this piece of legislation will be great for businesses. Another speaker said earlier, we calculated in Philadelphia, businesses spent about $32 million a year on bags, which is just an unacceptable waste of money for businesses for something that people just consider to be, a throwaway item. So I'm strongly in support of this legislation. Clean Air Council is strongly in support of this legislation. As everyone who has spoken today, I agree with all of the great points, and thank you for this time to speak.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Barbara Brandom.
Unmute. Thank you very much. I support the words of the other speakers today. As you said, my name is Barbara W. Brandom. I have lived at 1118 King Avenue in the Highland Park area of Pittsburgh since 1980. I'm a retired physician anesthesiologist, and I earned a master's degree at the Graduate School of Public Health in Pittsburgh. I've been reading about the adverse health effects of microplastics. I see plastic bags on roadsides all around. I won't repeat what the other speakers said. I just agree with them that microplastics are in our environment, and these have significant health effects. That's my addition to these comments. Recent science has associated endocrine disrupting chemicals, which are in plastic, especially things like bisphenol A, with diseases and conditions that are increasing in frequency. These include cancers of the breast and prostate and testis, genital malformations and infertility, obesity, diabetes, and learning disorders, including autism. I know people in Pittsburgh and other places in Western Pennsylvania, some of whom are my relatives, who suffer from these conditions. Therefore, I strongly support your ban on plastics, and I hope that you go forward with this in the very near future, the ban on single-use plastic bags. And I thank all the other speakers and the politicians who have worked so hard on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Aviva Lebowski.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. My name is Aviva Lubowski. I live at 2147 Beechwood Boulevard in Squirrel Hill. I am not going to talk about any of the environmental aspects of plastic bans, but I'm going to speak about in support of the ban on single-use plastic bags, just as a Yinzer. I'm a fourth generation Yinzer, and my parents still live here. And my mom and I primarily shop at 3 grocery stores. We shop at Trader Joe's, we shop at Aldi's, and we shop at Giant Eagle. And my mom is a little bit of a stubborn woman. I oftentimes have to remind her to put on her seatbelt in the car. But even as stubborn as she is, when she goes into Aldi's and Trader Joe's, she brings her bags with her. And so I know that there's going to be some concern about how this bill may be received by the public, but I think that the city council should exercise leadership for all of us Yinzers and ban these plastic bags. Even though some people may gripe and be annoyed about it, everyone, including my mother, will be able to get on board. And this is really a good thing for our city. And I hope that it's the beginning of more friendly policies for our environment. I would love to see us have recycling pickup every week. I would love to eventually see the city picking up compost. But as a first step, I think this is very doable, very important, and Yinzers are ready to get behind it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Christopher Olson.
City Council, thank you. My name is Christopher Olson, and I live on McCaslin Street in the neighborhood of Greenfield. About 2.5 years ago, I moved here from Orlando, Florida. And part of the reason I bought my first home here in Pittsburgh was because of our green spaces, Shinley Park, Frick Park, and the Three Rivers Heritage Trail. I bike often, and all the time I see plastic waste accumulating on these trails. And in particular, plastic bags washing up on the shoreline, plastic bags getting caught in the brush, plastic bags in the tree. My community, my family, we've taken steps to reduce our impact because there are simple, affordable things you can do, like using a reusable bag or just carrying what you buy from the store to your house. But let me paint a picture for you. You go to Giant Eagle, you get a shopping cart, you throw your reusable bags in the bottom there. You load that cart up with all sorts of produce. You go to check out, you unload all that produce, you see your reusable bags there, and you say, hey, I don't need the plastic, to look up and find 30, 40, 50 plastic bags already bagged with all the stuff you bought. These are worthless bags, and they end up in our rivers. They never break down, as you've heard from other speakers. A ban on plastic bags is tried, true, and effective, and I urge the City Council to pass the legislation as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Zachary Taylor.
Good morning, City Council. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Zachary Taylor. I'm the director of the American Recyclable Plastic Bag Alliance. We appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the discussion when this was first introduced in December. Unfortunately, today we're here in opposition to the proposal, including the changes that will be considered today. Plastic grocery bags do not account for meaningful portions of litter and waste. A recent survey of litter across the state of Pennsylvania, done by Keep America Beautiful, found that plastic grocery bags account for less than 1% of items cleaned up at litter cleanups. Similarly, data from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency finds that plastic bags account for 0.3% of municipal solid waste. In short, plastic bag bans do not meaningfully address litter or waste concerns because plastic bags, while they don't belong in the environment, are not meaningful portions of litter and waste. The bill currently, as described, also is not a plastic bag ban. It's a plastic bag substitution. Reusable bags are overwhelmingly made from plastics like polypropylene, polyethylene terephthalate, nylon, and polyester. These bags require substantially more reuses to offset their greater environmental impact, and at the end of their life, cannot be recycled. Plastic grocery bags, however, including those made in the state of Pennsylvania, can be recycled through the store take back program the industry pioneered. Importantly, most consumers choose to reuse their plastic grocery bags at home for tasks. Research from Recycle Quebec found that up to 77% of plastic bags get reused. Furthermore, this proposal is a tax on consumers. It will increase the cost of grocery bills at a time when inflation is running rampant and people are paying more for everything from food to fuel to staples. This is a proposal that will hurt struggling families and businesses because research shows that the behavioral changes some are hoping to see from this are constrained to higher socioeconomic strata, people who already own reusable bags. Folks at the lower end of the spectrum, research from the University of Ottawa on Toronto's bag fee found that those folks are less likely to change their habits and more likely to pay the fees. As we heard, this fee proposal here could transfer millions of dollars from working families to businesses who would retain it. And in fact, because of the price differential between bags, would actually incentivize the use of paper bags, which are being sold right now for around 8 cents, and they would retain a 10-cent fee. This would incentivize the use of paper bags, which many of the speakers at the post agenda in December acknowledged have their own environmental concerns, and research shows require more reuses to offset than the plastic bags they are intended to replace. We would like to continue to work with the council on this and address concerns about litter and waste by promoting recycling and recycled content in the industry's products. But we're concerned that the proposal today just misses the mark and represents the wrong approach to sustainability for the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you for your time. Look forward to having further conversations.
Thank you. That exhausts our list of registered speakers. Is there anyone else with us in chambers or online wishing to speak? Please come forward. State your name and neighborhood for the record.
Good morning. My name is Barry Wanless, Point Breeze, and I'm the current president of the 14th Ward Youth Baseball Association. With me today is Gregory Allen. He's our former league president, and we're here to comment on the donation of a batting cage to Mellon Park. First, I just want to say how proud I am of our youth baseball organization to be in a position like this to make a large donation to the city. It's a really nice batting cage. It costs thousands and thousands of dollars. And I think it says a lot that our league is in such a strong and responsible financial position that we're able to do so. I also quickly wanted to thank a couple of people in the city. Jake Pollock, Catherine Vargas, and Tom Paulin have been really, really helpful with us to kind of navigate the city bureaucracy for making a large donation like this. And I also want to thank the Department of Public Works for being willing to jump in and kind of take on a project like this very quickly and make it possible to use it for this season. I know they've got a lot on their plate, and Jake and Catherine and Tom are also really busy, and so their assistance is really appreciated. Finally, I just want to say that 14th Ward is really excited to continue to collaborate on projects like this with the city. We're the largest community youth baseball organization in the city. We've got a massive network of highly invested parents, and we have community sponsors. And we really look forward to partnering more with the city to continue to get great things done for the children here in the city. So thank you. And like I said, we really do look forward to working with you guys more. So thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Please come forward.
My name is Javon F. Brown. I live in the Hill District, Katie, where Irvis Tires at the top of Bedford. You know, I've been coming here for over 20-something years. When I first came here, Valerie McDonald, that was a Black woman that was president of a council. She would take and start the meeting. Now, there's supposed to be 9 here, and sometimes she started with 2 or 3 people. And I kept saying, wait a minute, I know it's supposed to be a quorum. So I started asking for books. Linda Wassler, I wanted to know the rules of council. She kept on saying they didn't have any books. They didn't have none printed. Well, Furlough was here, And finally, Fertile, after months, I had been coming and saying, I can't get the books. Fertile said, oh, come on now. The citizens want the books. So I got them. That's when I saw there's supposed to be 5 of you at the table because there's 9 of you. Okay, when Ms. Harris came, she started to try to start the meetings, but she wouldn't listen because I'd holler every time she said, well, we're going to start the meeting. It might be 1 or 2 council people. I say 5. And so she, go ahead. She started at 5, but Jen's right here. I've been telling people what you don't seem to understand. I've been coming here 20-something years. We've had politicians, and I'm talking about sure enough politicians. These politicians listened to what we said, and they could get shamed, but Jens can't get shamed. You don't care. You don't care. Anytime I can have Mr. Krause, I still look at him, whereas I turned my head to the left. Mrs. Brown, you must face the front, all hitting the gavel and stuff. When I took and was talking to my council person, 3 minutes, and he got up from the table and sat and started talking to Mr. Lavelle. I started screaming, Mr. Lavelle, I got 3 minutes. Do you understand? You just don't seem to understand. 3 minutes go awfully fast. And when you are interrupting me, like I got interrupted by Gross, and that one runs her mouth. They say she's so educated. Well, I am too. I may not have a PhD or went to college the 4 years because my son was killed. I was a senior in college. I studied, I was a Red Cross instructor. I worked in the restaurant. I also cleaned. I've had a lot of duties. I've been taught by some of the best. I was taught by a woman in Western Sight, 3rd grade education. Had been there so many years, she knew more than what some of the doctors that came in there. I'm serious. I've seen it when she was saying she ain't nothing but such and such. The doctor came in and saying, well, oh, she's so-and-so. This is from a woman that didn't have the education. So them letters behind your name, like PhD, don't mean nothing if you're ignorant and pious and haughty. That's what she is, very haughty. She can talk while we talking. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak before council, please come forward. If you're online, raise your hand. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, that moves us to our standing committees agenda. Our first committee of the day is Finance and Law, which is chaired by myself. We have 1 recommitted paper, Bill 196.
Bill 196, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Core Business Technologies in the amount of $2,062.50 for integration with the CSS tax system.
Motion to hold 1 week, please.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill will be held 1 week. Moves us to our new papers. Madam Clerk, can we please read Bill 216, 217, 218, 219 together? They all need held for executive session.
Bill number 216, resolution authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with Buchanan, Ingersoll, and Rooney, P.C. for legal services for an employment-related matter in an amount not to exceed $75,000. Bill number 217, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Autumn Kashon and her attorney in the amount of $2,500 related to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Bill number 218, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Tina Marie Corinaldi and her attorney in the amount of $3,500 relating to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas, Bill number 219, resolution authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor on behalf of the city to enter into a professional services agreement with Strasburger, McKenna, Gutnick, and Gufsky to address pending tax litigation at an amount not to exceed $20,000.
Motion to hold all bills for executive session, please.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Any opposed? 1 abstention. All bills will be held for executive session. Thank you. That takes us to our invoices. Need a motion to approve the invoices.
Motion to approve discussion.
Second.
Second discussion, Councilman.
What are we gonna do about this one that says held from last week, 17,000, the National League of Cities?
We need a motion to waive the rules of council so that that can also be approved.
Is there a reason why this can't be turned into just a regular
resolution.
We can hear from our budget director.
It's one of the rare things that are allowed.
This has been one of the exceptions that council had. We used to have this in our rules that memberships, subscriptions, and certain intergovernmental transfers could be over the amount, could be an exception. Unfortunately, and I apologize to our finance chair, it got written out of the rules over the last couple iterations. But the fact of the matter is we do pre-approve this. This resides in OMB and the administrative fees 53-101. So there's like a pre-approval for it. It's exempt from competitive bidding in relationship to the section of the code 161.02B12 as our memberships. My suggestion is that when the rules are rewritten, that we add these things in as exceptions. It's a matter of efficiency. It still appears on the agenda. So by appearing on this invoice agenda, there's the opportunity for council to stop, to look, to discuss whether it's something that we still want to continue. I think you can ask anyone in this room and through the city whether the National League of Cities has been beneficial. It's been extremely beneficial to our office and others, but there are and should be a couple exceptions to.
Okay. Do we have to do a by line, or we have to do the way the rules for the whole?
No, we just need a motion to waive the rules of council so this can be approved with all the invoices.
Okay, because I have one more question about the invoices. So let me ask that question now, or
sure.
Okay, I just had a question about the police one, about the ceasefire. I was wondering what the outreach training, what that pertains to, like what that gets us. I don't know. Is this the public safety, or is this Chief Schubert? Or is this one who's? Is there anyone online that can answer this question? OMB?
Looking, Councilman. I don't.
Ceasefire education, fireout training, but it does fit within the 5,000.
Yeah. I just
under.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll ask the question. I'll figure it out. Someone can, if someone's listening, if you want to email me, that'd be great. I'm just curious on what this is.
You want to hold it until we get somebody to the table?
Motion to waive the rules.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The rules have been waived. Is there any further discussion on the invoices? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Invoices are approved. Need a motion to approve the interdepartmental transfers. Second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Transfers are approved. Need a motion to approve the P cards.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? P cards are approved. That moves us to Public Safety Services Committee chaired by Councilman O'Connor. One new paper, Bill 220.
Bill 220, resolution amending resolution number 89, authorizing the mayor and director of public safety to enter on behalf of the city into an amended professional services agreement with Freedom Indeed LLC and Reverend Cornell Jones for professional services as a group violence intervention coordinator at a cost not to exceed $501,908.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Coghill?
Yes, thank you. I touched on this a little bit yesterday, but I just wanted to say how impressed I was with Cornell Jones, first of all, for taking my call at midnight. Secondly, he told me, hey, we're going to have a van. This is regarding the shooting that we had and the murder that we had in Brookline. This was the very next night, so he said he's going to send a van up there with, people to, counsel and, offer social services. When I got up there, I saw about 6 or 8 people in orange, red, vests. And, my first instinct was, what do you do? So I walked around with them, and they weren't intrusive. They didn't knock on doors. They didn't, confront people because, emotions were raw at that point, and they still are. But They just walked up and down the street. Kids would come up to them. They offered counseling. They offered, parents to, reach out to other services that we provide. And I'll admit, I really didn't know the Stop the Violence Fund. I didn't know exactly what it involved, but I found it very useful. And I felt they created a calming presence for the neighborhood that night. So I just wanted to commend Cornell and thank him for, taking immediate action and providing those services for me that night. And I'm in full support.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That moves us to Public Works Committee chaired by Councilman Coghill. First new paper is Bill 209.
Bill 209, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to apply for grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development local share account statewide to provide funding for the purchase of bridge maintenance equipment. The grant proposal includes an ask of $990,000.
Motion to approve brief discussion.
Second.
Seconded.
So, I don't know if Director Lucas is here. I just had a few questions as to what, maintenance vehicle or what
We
maintenance.
have Mr.
equipment is-
Phelpser is here with us to address this.
Oh, there he is.
Sure. Yeah, Director Lucas couldn't attend today. So we are, of course, DOMI's looking at, many aspects related to our bridge program. And one of the things that we want to do is to kind of get started or perhaps restart, because these activities were done decades ago. But to get going with doing in-house routine bridge maintenance, cleaning, for example, getting out to bridges on a yearly basis and just making sure that the scuppers and downspouts are clean and functional, that debris is removed out of expansion joints to keep those rubber seals in good working order. That will require, both employees and equipment. And this was a grant opportunity that came up to apply for some equipment that would help us on this path. So we've applied for the grant as one funding source to allow us to try to get some of this in-house capability built back up again.
Eric, I'm never one to get in the way of grant funding. But the employees as to this maintenance, would that be Public Works employees that we would use?
I think that's, still an ongoing conversation. I think it most likely would require additional employees, whether those employees be housed in Public Works or DOMI. Certainly that's a discussion. I know the mayor's office has been looking at what's out there, what's needed. I personally don't have any answers on that yet, but that is something that we're working on.
Okay, and when you say equipment, I understand the maintenance, cleaning the gutters or the drains and does that involve equipment that would, like a smaller vehicle that Councilwoman Gross is always after as to, clean the sidewalks and things like that, or?
So this would actually be some larger equipment, access equipment to get us to, some of the stuff on the bridge deck is easy to access, but a lot of times the downspouts will have clean outs that are over the edge. So you need to get over the side of the bridge to access that to properly clean things. And then, water truck and pressure washing equipment to get in there and clean that debris out. So it's some bigger equipment and then just, like a pickup truck or so just to, get the staff to where they need to be as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. I'm supportive as well, but especially because we're just here in this bill receiving a grant, but I would like to just bring back a bit of conversation while we have the opportunity to say that following up on Councilman Coghill's comments, we know that as we're doing more work, that we're doing actual infrastructure work that isn't just maintenance work, we're going to also need not just people seeking grants, but the people monitoring the contracts, right? I'm in favor of us hiring more capacity in-house. We are still down in terms of engineers. We're down in expertise for 15 years now because of austerity measures under Act 47. And it's time for us to build back those capacities in each of our departments so that we can do public works. and actually build things and fix them. I'm in favor of hiring it in-house, but we know even in the kinds of capacities that we need to outsource, we'll still need project managers to oversee those contracts. We learned this at PWSA as we shifted from neglecting infrastructure to literally almost rebuilding the entire water system and starting with lead line replacements some 5 years ago, that we needed to greatly increase the amount of staff that we had on board, even to expend the capital funding that we had and to manage those projects and get the work done. So I just wanted to, we haven't spoken about that for a few weeks. So I just wanted to reiterate that today, because I'm hopeful that we'll be seeing a lot more of these kinds of resolutions where we're accepting some grant funding to execute badly needed infrastructure repair. All right, that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation, Bill 210.
Bill 210, resolution amending resolution number 332, entitled Resolution Authorizing the Mayor and Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to apply for grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources Community Conservation Partnerships Program to provide funding for the Three Rivers Heritage Trail repaving project, to accept the grant and authorize necessary expenditures.
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion?
Discussion, Councilman Wilson?
Yeah, just, I see the header on the letter here, or the title on the letter mentions, West Ohio Street Bridge, Norfolk Southern supplementary. So I wanted to just ask, we have Eric still on the line to see what this means.
Yeah, I think that is a mistake because the next paper regards the West Ohio Street Bridge project.
Okay. And what's, well, I'll just ask you quickly, what's happening with the trail?
Sure.
I know they're going to repave all along River Avenue. What part's being repaved now?
So this is a grant that we applied for last year to do additional paving, and our intent is to use this in the Chateau section from approximately Franklin Street to Island Avenue.
Great. All right, thanks.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation, Bill 213.
Bill 213, resolution providing for a supplementary agreement for construction services with Norfolk Southern Railway Company for the West Ohio Street Bridge project at a cost not to exceed $512,107, an increase of $109,021 from the previously executed agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion.
Discussion, Councilman Wilson?
Just my same question as previously, since that one was incorrect earlier. So, Eric, if you could just brief us on what this means.
Sure. As part of the West Ohio Street Bridge project, we have an agreement with Norfolk Southern Railroad where they have to provide railroad flaggers anytime work is going on over or around the railroad tracks. So they have staff on site to ensure rail safety while our contractor is working. That does get billed back to the project. This is a supplemental agreement to add enough funding to cover the flagging costs for the duration of the job. There's more flagging that was needed just based on the duration of the project has been a little longer than was originally anticipated.
So this is just a reimbursement for what we paid for flaggers. But I mean, the bridge is up. It's already.
Yeah, the invoices tend to lag a bit, as they get around to billing. So this will cover the costs that have been spent. Yes.
All right.
And there's a little bit of work on the demolition of the Ridge Place Bridge, which is still being wrapped up right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gross.
You're welcome.
I just have a technical question about the agenda then. So is the, Madam Clerk, or Mr. Seltzer, does the attachment for 021 just need to be removed? Do we worry about that now? Do we not worry about that? Well, is it I don't, so I looked at my text files and I don't see any attachments to 0210. Is there an attachment that's maybe just mislabeled? It's not in our packet. And so what does that mean, Madam Clerk, for our agenda or?
Let me see if I can pull it up as well.
You know, in the future, right? And like a year
there's
from now or 10 years from now, when someone forgets, they're gonna be like, what is this attachment and why isn't it here? And it's labeled and it's hyperlinked. And
What's
Yeah.
what does that mean for the record?
probably something we could,
Do I need?
I'm not the clerk, but what's?
Yeah,
the
I
term?
can't
Scrivener's
see
error?
in front of me that we just can delete those attachments to 0210, which we just provisionally approved. Or maybe there is an attachment that's just mislabeled. I don't know which one's true.
I guess it would be up to him whether or not there's attachment that was intended for this item.
Yep, Mr. Sasser, do you know? For the one, the previous bill, 0210.
And they're the same.
So just based on what I'm observing, looking at the agenda, I believe that the attachment for 0210 called West Ohio Street Bridge, Norfolk Southern Supplementary Agreement summary, I believe that is actually intended for Bill 0213.
Mm-hmm.
So 0210 should have no attachment.
There is no attachment. And we'll make the correction. We'll remove it.
Okay. Thank you, that's all. I just wanted to clarify that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was trying to pull it up.
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up too.
Anything further? Well, still on first round, Councilman Coghill.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was pointing to Councilman
Okay.
Wilson.
Second round, Councilman Wilson.
Yeah, I just want, Eric, just so I don't forget, I want to follow up with you on Semiseer. I know you went out there and check it out.
Will do. Just give me a call.
All right.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. Bill 214.
Bill 214, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to apply for grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Community Economic Development local share account statewide to provide funding for the construction of a maintenance facility in the 4th district. The grant proposal has an ask of $1 million for this stated purpose.
A motion to approve, brief discussion. So I just want to clarify, the facility is completely paid for. The money is in place. This is just an opportunity. I think the administration was, trying to attract some grant money, and providing we get that grant money, it'll enable us to move money from other places that might be designated for the 4th Division. But I just want to be clear, it's paid for, the money's there, it's secure, and it will be built and up and running in October. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick question, please. So, thank you, Mr. Chair. The bill speaks to the 4th district, not the 4th division. The division's in the 3rd district.
Yeah, that's not my fault. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But physical location.
I think they intended to have 4th Division in the 3rd Council District, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know, because I'm not sure of the intent, but the facility is in the 3rd council district, but it is the 4th division. Don't know, because I don't know the intent of the bill. So should it be changed? Maintenance facility in the
say it.
Yeah. I think it was just a mistake. I don't know. Do we have to amend it then?
I'd rather know the intent before we go amending.
Would you like, Director Hornstein's not with us. Would you like
Could we
to
pass?
get clarity and then amend on
get
Tuesday?
Clarification for Tuesday, please.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Madam Clerk, you'll do that, please?
Yes, sir, will do.
Try to get clarity by Tuesday. Bill is recommended. That moves us to Human Resources Committee chaired by Councilman Kraus. One new paper, Bill 215.
Bill 215, resolution amending resolution number 387, which authorizes the city to enter into an amended professional services agreement with corporate cost control for third-party administration of the city of Pittsburgh's liabilities under the Pennsylvania Unemployment Compensation Act for 4 additional years of services by extending this contract for an additional 4 years and authorizing spend for these additional years.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That moves us to Land Use and Economic Development Committee chaired by Councilman Wilson. One deferred paper, Bill 12.
Bill 12, ordinance amending and supplementing the city code at Title 6 Conduct Article 1, Regulated Rights and Actions by adding a new chapter 610 entitled Prohibition on Use of Certain Bags and Checkout Bag Charge to permit the use of only certain bags by retail establishment at the point of sale or for a delivery, and establishing a charge payable by customer to the establishment for the provision of other types of bags, all under certain terms and conditions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? See.
I would like to make a motion to amend.
Second. Any discussion on the amendment, Councilwoman?
Well, and I would like to make an amendment to the amendment, a voice amendment, very small, which I can, but so I just wasn't sure about procedure on that. Discuss.
We're on the amendment itself, so if you want to make a motion to amend the
Okay.
amendment.
I'd be happy to walk through the,
Councilwoman Gross is looking at me funny.
okay. So I'm happy to go through the items within the amendment, but first, just to sort of walk through what I'd like to change, it would be in section 610.04. And there is a section that says in E, the amended portion E, subsection E, recycled paper bags or reusable bags. I would just like to strike through or reusable bags. There is actually no definition for reusable bags in the bill anywhere, and it's not necessary. So that was something that the law department did recommend and would like to.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment is passed. Now still on the amendment.
Thank you. So just to walk through briefly some of the changes to the bill since the time that it was introduced in November of 2021. This would, to back up a second, we, and I say we, meaning our office, the other sponsors who would like to thank, and their offices, Councilman Wilson, Councilman Kraus, and Councilman O'Connor, along with many different stakeholders, many of whom you heard from today at public comment. And I really want to thank everyone for taking time out of their schedule to voice their support for this at public comment and to voice their comments in general. Took time over the last several months to slow the process down, center equity in this conversation when it comes to business owners, restaurant owners, store owners, and consumers, and to think about, where we are right now at the end of, or, just slowly coming out of and recovering from a global pandemic, where restaurants have been, and store owners and retail and merchants have been, have had their lives turned upside down, where individuals, many are still struggling to make ends meet. So wanted to take that into account with the assistance of sort of an advisory circle, and held a couple of stakeholder sessions. It was really helpful to talk through some of these issues, and included people from Environmental Services, Office of Nighttime Economy, Penn Environment, Clean Water Action, Food Policy Council, the council sponsors, the Restaurant and Lodging Association, many different restaurants and businesses themselves. And in response to that, we have done a few things. So the amendment reduces the fee on paper bags from 15 cents to 10 cents. Recycled paper bags also will be provided at no additional charge to customers who use a voucher or card under the WIC program or the SNAP program. And so there's sort of a carve out for the fee for those who can demonstrate that they have their benefits holder. Also, effective date has been pushed back from 180 days to 1 year after passage. That gives everyone enough time to be able to sort of continue to recover from the pandemic, and for the city to do things like hire the staff to be able to educate and inform and assist, but also to eventually enforce the bill as written. And for all of us who are working together to raise the necessary funds through corporate sponsors, through city funds, through philanthropy, to be able to purchase a set of reusable bags to give out to people, give out to businesses, give out to those who need them, and maybe some other creative pilot programs as well. There's some minor changes to the definition of paper bags. So those are the main changes to the bill in the amendment.
Very much. On the amendment, Councilman Kraus.
Yeah, thank you. This is a pretty monumental moment and a very long time getting here. I just want to commend the Councilwoman for her passion and diligence in bringing this to actually come to be. This was no easy feat, and it took a considerable amount of effort and energy and negotiation to be able to bring it to this point in time. And so I just want to offer my full support and appreciation for everything you've done to get us here. And I'm certainly going to vote this through today. Many of you I've been able to talk with about this, have read the recent reports of microplastics being found in bloodstream and how much we actually consume. I understand the estimate is something about the size of a credit card's worth of plastic that we ingest or inhale, or it becomes lodged in our bloodstreams on a yearly basis because of the amounts of plastic that are in our environment and polluting the planet and polluting us. Right? We got one shot at this. This is where we live, and charge to protect and nurture the earth. So this is again a monumental day. I'm very proud to have been a very small part of it, but it was nice to put my name to the work that you have done. Very, very happy to see this moment in time and that we're indeed going to pass this. So happy to offer my support. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I also am glad to see the changes. I know it's been a lot of hard work, and it really does. I think these are improvements to, as you say, centering equity so that we don't have an unfair burden on our smaller operators who tend to be minority and women-owned businesses. We were just talking about them yesterday when I was talking about how we can do better to better support, especially food-related businesses. And these are some of the ones that are exempted from this requirement, but it is attention. It's attention, right? We want to do better for public health and reducing plastics. We want to do better for our own public works in eliminating this source of basically contamination and disruption to our recycling. And our goal is to reduce the amount of waste and that would be for public benefit, and divert as much as we can from the landfills. That would be, as I've talked about many times, and the mileage of our waste haulers as they drive out to the landfills, and how we should be diverting as much as possible away from that waste stream. And so this is a positive step, and we should be recycling in order to do that diversion. And then the plastic bags, as you point out, are a problem in our recycling capacity. And in order also, as Councilman Kraus points out, that we reduce the negative health effects of plastics at large. Um, but it's so because there isn't enough, I think, support at the higher levels of government for this. Like, once again,
We do it here.
we're doing it here. And it creates this tension of we don't have the supports that we could have in order to make it a more equitable process, to make it a faster process, right? With government support at higher levels of government, we could have done this years ago. So thank you for helping us take these steps, and I'm supportive today. And I don't know if we're going to do second round on after we pass the amendment. So if you don't mind, I'll just also throw in that I was sitting here trying to remember when I first bought my first reusable bag. Because some of us are older than others at the table. And I'm pretty sure it was when I moved, had just finished my bachelor's degree which was 1988. And then I started graduate school in 1989 in North Carolina for the PhD program at Duke, and I joined the food co-op, right? And so there was, we had reusable little cellulose bags made from wood pulp to do the bulk goods. And I had my little, I think it was like called the Durham Food Co-op. And it's now, I think it's still somewhere in my house, but it's shrunken over the years because when you wash those cloth bags, they get smaller and smaller. So I think it used to be a regular sized tote bag and now it's like this big. So I'm pretty sure we're looking at around 1989 or so. And just to point that out and just how far behind tragically we all are. I mean that these decades that we've increased plastic bag production and we didn't have needed to. So I couldn't help but throw that in. So I'm getting to be like Councilman Burgess being the old man at the table, but I'm not quite as old as you, sir.
Councilman Wilson?
I'll make comments now. Seems like we're doing that. So I just want to commend Councilperson Strasburger for everything that she's put into this bill. It's been, it's always, I really appreciate the time and thought that goes into working with everyone. I know that there were some, stakeholder meetings. There was ones with people that would be, use the word affected by it, like whether it was businesses or the changes they would have to make. You really have done, with council members, you've really done a lot to bring people to the table and figure out a solution in every case. So really commend you for that. And I'm happy to be supportive of this bill. I remember, some time ago we had a press conference whenever this was introduced, and I was happy to speak there to the important reasons why this is needed. For instance, down to the starting, the production of it, or the harvesting the resources to do the production, the amount of energy and the amount of effort that even our federal government, state level, put into construction of large facilities to create this on the on the initial end with the material, and then the whole production side, and then the user side. I know what I'm going to be excited about is this. We have like 2 large bags underneath our sink that are where we stuff all the single-use plastic bags, because I love my wife.
Oh boy, here it comes.
And she has trained me very well that when I'm at the counter, I'm either saying, "Oh, no, thanks." I'm like unwrapping the thing. It's like I could buy one, let's say Valentine's card or Mother's Day card, right? Because I would do that, and they would put a bag on it. I say, no, I'm sorry, I'm good. But there are situations, whether you get takeout or something, where you get a plastic bag, and we're stuffing them in these larger bags underneath the sink because they're I don't know what happens, but apparently like Giant Eagle does have, and there's other people, there's other businesses that do offer a way to cycle single-use plastic. And so just, I don't know, is that, maybe I can get a thumbs up from the environmental crowd. Is that a good thing or bad thing? Should we not be doing that? No. 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 I don't want to promote something here if it's actually not good, but I don't know. We've been doing it. They say that you can recycle it, so we've been doing it. But I'm just really happy to get to it going to be reduced, because that's the main thing here. Whether it's a good thing that they're recycling those single-use plastic bags or not, but the whole point here is to reduce as much as possible, and I really appreciate all the effort that's going into that. So, all right, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilman Coghill.
Yes. First, I want to thank you, Councilwoman Strasburger, all the work you put into this. I know it wasn't easy. I know you had pushback from many different, establishments or groups or people. I myself have a pet peeve with plastics in general, besides the plastic bags and all the reasons that the people called in for, which I agree 100% with. But when we talk about landfills and we talk about, in my business, I have a strict rule that one of my employees are not to throw the hard Gatorade plastic, things into my dumpsters. And it's a economical financial reason for me because they take up space, really a lot of space. So hopefully this is just the beginning in a long trek as to banning plastics in general. I still am amazed that we can put a machine on Mars, but we can't come up with a biodegradable product that can carry fruits or whatever we package plastics in. I think for that person who discovers that or comes up with a solution to that, will be a very rich person, I believe, someday. So yeah, I just want to thank you for your work. Good job in getting it to this point.
Thank you. Second round on the amendment, Councilwoman.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Councilman O'Connor.
No, I was raising my hand on this thing, but I just wanted to thank Councilwoman for all her hard work. I know she was working with the law department for a lot of time, and she's done a great job in pushing this bill forward. So just a quick thank you.
Thank you. Second round, Councilman Strasburger.
Thank you. And thanks to all the support from colleagues. I'll speak more generally when we're talking about the amended version of the bill, but just briefly to address some questions that I heard. Also want to point out that always included from the very beginning in this bill to the equity piece for smaller retailers is the fact that, first of all, as we know, there's no such thing as a free bag, right? Like whether it's plastic, which is about 2 cents a bag, or paper, which is roughly about 8 cents a bag, that cost is being passed down to the consumer, right? People just aren't aware of it, but it's built into the cost of doing business. This will just highlight what the cost is, and a 10-cent fee on paper bags and banning of plastics will mean that people will be much more aware of the fee that they're already paying. But in this case, there will be hopefully a little bit of a profit margin, which goes back to the retailer to use for whatever purpose they want, to purchase more paper bags, potentially to purchase some reusable bags to give out for free, whatever they choose. So hopefully, building that in from the very beginning was also intended to be helpful to the retailers and to the restaurants. Understand that it takes a little while to get over that first hump of, no longer purchasing much less expensive plastic bags and purchasing only somewhat more expensive paper bags. But that is something I'm very eager to talk about in implementation and doing everything that we can to help those retailers in that way. To the recycling of plastic bags, if people are interested, I will send the final section of our plastics summit, which involved a sort of a plastics materials scientist, engineer, who can speak to how we are not yet able to recycle most types of plastic bags. The filmy, very thin plastic bags, the technology is just not there yet. So it gets way over my head, but it's interesting to understand the different types of plastics and the chemical, bonds that make them up and how some are able to be recycled in some way, in some ways, but not totally perfectly. And then these very thin plastic bags just aren't really recyclable, at least not in a cost-effective and efficient way. So wanted to address that, but I'll leave it at there for now.
Thank you,
please.
Councilman Kraus.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will try to keep this brief. Many of you know Jackie Dixon through the years, who used to do a government liaison for Giant Eagle. I was here maybe 2 months. And so this is 15 years ago that Jackie Dixon and I met to talk about eliminating plastic bags from Giant Eagle. And she came to tell me how and why that's not possible and that we can't do it. The best thing that came out of that meeting was that she and I became very good friends, and I absolutely adore her, and we've remained really good friends through the years. But the moment, I don't want the moment to go by that how things have changed over the years, and that now we have someone that is as large as a Giant Eagle that uses such an enormous amount of these kinds of bags, actually supportive and wanting to do their part in reducing single-use plastic bags. So I just wanted to call them out for that. And then I wanted to bring to members' attention, which I have in the past, and I suspect some of you have actually watched it, but there is a documentary on PBS which is streamed on their website called Plastic Wars. And if anyone wants to see the irreparable harm we're doing to this planet by single-use plastic, take a look at that documentary. And if that doesn't keep you up at night, I don't know what will. Much of what the documentary speaks about is really a charade by the industry, a purposeful charade by the industry to mark things as being recyclable, but there's no market to recycle them. So whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, consumers are purchasing something saying, oh, see the symbols on here, this is recyclable, but it's not being recycled because there's absolutely no market to recycle it. So it is ending up in landfills anyway. As rabid as I have been in my, like the councilwoman with her bag, I haven't, I will confess, I have not, I have not. But I have been rabid about the topic of recycling for as long as I can ever remember. I do everything in my power to recycle every single thing that's humanly possible to recycle. But I have come to learn that that is not the answer. That is not the key. It is reduction. It is reduction. It is reduce, reuse, and then recycle. And the key really to fulfilling our responsibilities to care for this planet really comes down to reduction. And what can we do? We have this parking enhancement district with the help of council. Thank you very much, that we've created in the Southside Flats. On an average, we pick up 1,600 pounds of trash every month off of one business district here. We spend $20,000 a month or actually right now we're spending about $13,000 or $14,000 a month to have a clean team in that one business district. We're about to add a third person, which means we'll go up to about $22,000 a month, because people can't reduce their waste and find a garbage can when they do use single plastic container. So in that one business district, we're spending $250,000 a year just to pick up garbage. Is that madness or what? What could we do in a 4-year period with $1 million, and how could we invest that? Just simply by reduction, a conscientious consumption of product, partnerships with business to assist with reduction, and understanding that business has a responsibility. A business understands the concept of design, manufacturing, distribution, cost, and actual implementation of whatever that product might be that's single-use plastic. But once it leaves their hands and into the hands of the consumer, all of a sudden there's absolutely no responsibility by the business to make certain that that single-use container, however it might be defined, finds its due end. There is a partnership here to be crafted. And I guess I come full circle to commend Giant Eagle for wanting to at least be some small part of changing the conversation and the discourse that business does have a responsibility to see that single-use container does find its proper due end. So I kind of went on there, but it is a passionate subject. We are, how does the saying go? We don't own the planet, we just rent it from our children. Is that how that goes? And we have a responsibility to make sure we leave it better than we found it. And God knows we're not doing that. So it's a good moment. And I appreciate council's integrity in passing this legislation. Very proud to be part of it. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill is amended. Any further discussion on the bill as amended? Councilwoman Strasburger.
And this is where I just like to make my kind of my broader statements, aside from the amendment, aside from some of the details about, the impetus behind this bill. And it's everything everyone has said already. I really appreciate all the really thoughtful comments from public commenters to council colleagues. It's spot on. And it is about public health. It is about pride in our neighborhoods and reducing sources of litter. It is about thinking about a new way of doing business and challenging business owners to use their entrepreneurial spirit to do business in a different way, and for us as customers and consumers to behave in a different way. Change is never easy. We know that. I mean, this body should know that better than anyone. Change is always, a little bit uncomfortable, especially when we become accustomed to convenience over decades and decades. But it really is about future generations. It is about what kind of state we're leaving our city, our world, for our children and grandchildren and their grandchildren. And I am eternally optimistic that we can get to a point where we're leaving it in a better place. We're building a city and a region that is the hub of innovation for everything from, dealing with our waste and reduce the amount of waste that we're producing, to being a clean city, to producing energy that is clean and healthy for our air and our water. This is just one small part of it, but it's the power that we have. And I've seen across the country where cities lead on these types of bags ban, states follow eventually. So I'm really optimistic as well that, with a steady drumbeat all across the state, we can eventually get to the point where we are actually talking about this at a state level. And if not, at least maybe at a county level soon. So I see this as one small part in the right direction, and just so grateful that we're finally to this point where we're passing it preliminarily, and hopefully if nothing happens between now and Tuesday, passing it finally on Tuesday as well. Thank you all.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Congratulations, Councilwoman. That takes us to Bill 65.
Bill 65, resolution amending resolution number 863 entitled Adopting and Approving the 2019 CDBG Program by transferring the remaining funds from the James Street Step Reconstruction Project to the Northside Christian Health Center, $76,000, and traffic calming, $14,220.54.
Motion to hold 1 week.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Bill be held 1 week. New papers, Bill 222.
Bill 222, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of Interface Studio LLC in the amount of $5,990 for additional services for overage of 36 hours for stakeholder interviews, 43 hours for public engagement, and 14 hours for agency coordination relating to the Manchester TRID project.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Bill is recommended. Bill 223.
Bill 223, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code, Title 9 Zoning Code 4, Planning Districts 908 Public Realm Districts and 90901 Specially Planned Districts, and Article 5 Use Regulations, Chapter 911 Primary Uses, Section 91102, use table, and section 91104, use standards to remove the review of sidewalk cafes from the zoning code.
Motion to hold for cablecast public hearing.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill be held for cablecast public hearing. That moves us to Innovation Performance Asset Management Committee, chaired by Councilwoman Strasburger. One new paper, Bill 221.
Bill 221, resolution amending resolution number 44, authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into an agreement with Computronics for the provision of a permitting and licenses package to change the funding department for 2022.
Motion to approve.
Second, discussion.
Discussion, Councilman Wilson.
I just had a question. Is this Computronics just related to One Stop?
It is really, may I? It is related to permitting and licensing. This has to do with the development required for the rental registration and lead inspection of child facility services. So it's tied to the management of that bill. But I know we have Gwen Moore at the table if you'd like to pull her up.
Yes, this is a transfer of funds from PLI to INP to support the lead inspection development in Computronics.
That is
And Computronics, the brand for Computronics for the city is called the One Stop Shop, but Computronics is the actual vendor, and their software is called Posse, but we call the process One Stop Shop.
Glenn Moore.
Hi, Gwen. Do you mind stating your just your name and title for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Gwendolyn Moore, Assistant Director, Business Technology with the Department of Innovation and Performance.
Thanks.
Sure.
Well, thanks for going over that. So physically or virtually, what happens is you're going to just like add sections, like Computronics is going to add sections to like the back end for the people who will be doing the inspections so they can report. Or can you, I'm just kind of curious on some of these details.
The process for lead inspection, permitting and inspections will be developed in a software package on the Computronics platform.
All right.
And that's what it is. This is paying for that development for the actual lead inspection application and permitting process.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That moves us to Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilwoman Gross. One deferred paper, Bill 180.
Bill 180, resolution adopting plan revision to the city of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for UPMC Presbyterian 3701 Fifth Avenue.
Motion to approve brief discussion.
Second.
So thank you. We've held this now for just kind of 1 week at a time because it was, it is a large project and it was unclear how far along in its permitting it's gone, but it appears that it still has not even had its recommendation from Planning Commission. I would be more comfortable if we did have that recommendation from Planning Commission, but I don't actually know when it's on that agenda. Anybody happen to know when it's coming up on Planning Commission?
I thought it passed planning.
Oh, I thought we were, so it has passed.
I'd like to call someone up if they're here. if
That'd
someone-
be helpful. So do we have someone from planning? Do we need someone from the planning department on the line? Madam Clerk, do we have anyone from planning on the line?
I got kicked out of the meeting.
Oh, you did, sorry. Okay,
Hey,
we're
Bill,
all-
can you
sorry,
go
we're
to
all
the,
looking at the screen.
Can you go to the attendees?
To see if we have anyone from the planning department. We probably don't, right? I don't believe we're holding up the project. We would have seen the recommendation from the planning commission come over and we would have, I probably have to, I don't know if we have to have our own public hearing on it or not.
I don't believe we do.
Maybe-
but
maybe
somehow
not.
I think you would have heard from someone at UPMC if we were holding up something.
That's fair. Let's just leave it at that, right? And then so if members are comfortable, I suggest we just hold one more week. I personally have not reached out to UPMC on this very large project. But we welcome them to get in touch and let us know kind of what the status is.
I have heard from UPMC. They are curious as to why we're holding it. And the only thing that I was able to learn so far without having talked to planning yet and hearing back from them is that because this is a project within an already approved IMP, institutional master plan, that it does not require council approval or additional public hearing, but that they were hoping to move it forward. But I'd also, I'll obviously defer to you. It's your committee.
So I understood
Yeah.
I think I misunderstood. I thought what I understood from looking into it, that it was still awaiting the planning commission hearing. But if it has received the votes at planning commission with a recommendation, I'm comfortable moving it forward, because that would be, as far as I understand, that all of the permits would be in place by that time. And that's always my consistent concern about these sewer modules, is that from everything I can understand from state DEP, that we are the city council body should be the last step so the bureaucratic permits should have been approved before it comes to the legislative vote. And to really keep those two sets of things differentiated. This is not one of the bureaucratic desks. And so if I understand, this specific project has passed all the bureaucratic stops, then I'm comfortable taking the vote today. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
I just confirmed it has been approved by the planning commission.
Thank you for
Just
double
last minute.
checking. So there are, if anyone else and then the public is curious, we probably have seen more development activity than ever before at the city of Pittsburgh in the last number of years. And it's really difficult for us to track every single project, and especially with just council staffing. So apologies.
Okay, thank you. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It recommended. That takes us to our last bill, Bill 87.
Bill 87, resolution adopting plan revision to the city of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the 154 South 15th Street, 17th Ward.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That does exhaust our agenda for today. We do have a number of meeting announcements. Tomorrow, Thursday, April 7th at 6 p.m. at the Pride Project, there will be another public briefing by the Reapportionment Advisory Committee on the proposed reapportionment district maps. You can register to speak at this meeting by filling out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage or by emailing city clerk's office at pittsburghpa.gov. Next week, council will hold our regular and standing committees at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, April 12th and Wednesday, April 13th, respectively. Speaker registration ends at 9 a.m. Tuesday and Wednesday. To register to speak at these upcoming meetings, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage by the appropriate deadline. You may also call the city clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Are there any announcements from members? Seeing none, need a motion to, everyone was here, so approve the, oh, Teresa was not here, that's correct. Excuse the absent member, approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second.
We are adjourned.